searching for?
It was an itsy bitsy teeny weeny.
What did I say?
During the meanwhilest.
During the meanwhilest. No, I don't
No.
like that at all.
Well, hello there to all you discerning music fans and those most ardent of During the Meanwhilest watchers who tune in and watch whatever turgid nonsense we put out there. Well, today that turgidness is turned right up.
These go to 11.
See? Turned right up there. And yes, it's another of our music-based videos. I know. These are becoming far too frequent. I hear you all complain. Well, sorry, but I enjoy making them. And especially along with Dexter, I think. Listening to the music that'll be discussed when researching them. And you can't stand still on YouTube. You've always got to be innovating and trying something new, I guess. And if you don't like these videos, then it's simple, just don't watch them. I'm not abandoning my normal stuff. These music ones are very much in addition to all the normal garbage I rattle out. And anyway, don't blame me entirely. Blame Peter Scove over at Music is a Journey, for he must shoulder at least some of the responsibility. It's all his fault, really, for inspiring me to make more of these. And one day, I might make one as good as one of Peter's videos, but somehow I highly doubt it. Please, though, go and take a look at Peter's channel. He really is a font of all knowledge when it comes to rock music. And his videos are just the kind I know most of you really enjoy. It's just like having a chat with a friend about a mutually enjoyed, subject. Well, mostly. In this video, I'll be taking a look at 3 of the most influential hard rock, heavy metal, call it what you like, debut albums ever released. And they all came out in and around 1970 and 71, that sort of an era, as I like to call it, the golden age of rock and roll. And no, Mott the Hoople do not feature, sadly. And one of the albums isn't strictly a debut as such, although it is the first album that particular band recorded with their classic early lineup and marked this kind of change in style. So I'm kind of classifying it as a debut recording. Anyway, can you guess what these albums are yet? I tell you what, pause the video right now and make your guesses in the comments below for a bit of fun. And the closest guesser wins a current bun. Made your guesses? Right, on with the show. And the first record I've chosen is Uriah Heep's debut Offering from 1970. Very heavy, very humble. Opens with the classic Gypsy. Surely a song every rock fan is familiar with. A Mick Box and David Byron penned Ken Hensley Hammond organ infused slab of, meaty heavy rock. The record continues with Mick Box's, wah-wah fueled guitars and simple but really effective rock riffs that balance with the Hammond perfectly, and David Byron's magical and diverse vocals ranging from those of a classic hard rock frontman through, a genuine falsetto to a much softer side. You can really hear why Freddie Mercury cited Byron as an early influence. The similarities are there for all to hear. And if you've ever seen Byron perform live, then you seek it out on YouTube. The influence is even clearer. In only 8 songs, though, the record rides the waves of diversity between heavy rock, ballads, barroom, blues, prog, and even a smattering of jazz in the closing track, Wake Up, Set Your Sights, and is as close to a perfect debut album as it's possible to get, really. The only surprising thing about the record is the lack of any writing credits for that Hammond playing Ken Hensley, who would go on to become the most productive and prolific writer for Heep throughout the 70s. And also, the record certainly doesn't prepare you for the near sidelong Hensley penned prog like epics that would feature in later albums like Salisbury, Demons and Wizards and the Magician's Birthday. But have a listen to Very Heavy, Very Humble. It really is a classic record. Next up is another classic album, and it is In Rock from Deep Purple. Okay, now this strictly isn't a debut album, but released in 1971, Purple's third offering is the first with their classic early lineup of Blackmore, Gillan, Glover, Lord and Pace, and marks a change in sound from their earlier, more psychedelic influenced recordings. Put the record on though, and you might be confused as to what you bought from the opening track, as this, after the initial guitar intro you're treated to abruptly ends. It's replaced by a couple of minutes of organ music, more closely associated with a Sunday morning in church than a rock album really. Anyway, organ intro aside, the opening Speed King leaves you in a little doubt as to the band's new direction. As an aside, I wonder what came first, the track or the identically named bass drum pedal. Ian Pace certainly has one of the speediest bass drum techniques I've ever heard. Side 1 closes with my all-time favourite Purple tune, the majestic Child in Time. Studio version, though, may have to yield to the superb rendition on Made in Japan, though. Ian Gillan here, though, he showcases his stunning vocal range, and the whole song is a slice of prog rock, I think, at its very, very finest. The whole album is a vehicle for the true musical virtuosity of all the individual members. And the similarity, in parts at least, of this record and Heap's debut is striking, really. Hardly surprising, as they often shared the same rehearsal rooms and used to watch each other in action. That, and they shared an identical Hammond and guitar foundation stone, really, 5-piece makeup, I guess. Side 2 opens with what can only be described as a slice of, punk rock, I think, in Flight of the Rat. Well, the riff at least, if not the track's length, and a triplet-heavy drum solo finale. Perhaps this was an early influence on John Lydon, maybe. But the record continues with even more hard-rocking tracks, and even a smattering of lyrical humour along the way. Whatever. In contrast to Heap's more diverse debut, In Rock certainly set the blueprint for future Deep Purple recordings and sound, with that classic lineup anyway. My final pick is Genesis. Not the band, but a record that many rock aficionados cite as the first true heavy metal album. And it is, of course, Black Sabbath's eponymous 1970 debut. Black Sabbath. Geezer Butler, I think it was, said that their sound was influenced by the hammering of the steel works they heard and felt through their, or through his and Tony Iommi's school classroom windows. Heavy, desk-shaking metal indeed, and a sentiment later echoed by fellow Birmingham resident and Judas Priest frontman Rob Halford. So perhaps it is the first album really to wear this heavy metal moniker then. Back to the record at hand though, and a look at the cover and the track titles leaves you in a little doubt as to what lies inside on the vinyl. And I digress a little here, so forgive me, but one thing all these records have in common, apart from the monstrously magnificent music that is their sleeve artwork. Now, debut albums really need something to grab your attention while searching through hundreds of records, in a record shop. And all of these excel in that regard, standing out from the crowd and just saying, come and buy me. The Heap one in particular is a great example of this. You're hardly going to ignore that record on a shelf somewhere, are you? Anyway, back to the Black Sabbath record again. Opening with the incredibly dark and disturbing title track, leaving you thinking you've wandered into a coven of devil worshippers, really. It continues in a similarly sinister vein, both musically and lyrical, with NIB and the opening to Sleeping Village cementing any Luciferian imagery. No wonder this band forged a dark reputation throughout its life, really. Before closing, there's room for a cover of the Ainsley Dunbar's Retaliation track Warning, although a much shorter version. Anyway, how did your guesses go? Pause the video again and pop down to the comments and let me and everyone else know how well or how badly you did. And did anybody, honestly now, guess all three? Also, what do you think of my choices? What albums would you like to have seen? Something by Cream, maybe? Free, perhaps? Or even King Crimson or Jimi Hendrix? Or from a slightly earlier era, maybe, but no less important or influential. One that could and did in my original plans feature, this was going to be a 4-album comparison, is Led Zeppelin's debut. I finally discounted it though because it was of its more bluesy influences than the other records. And I own all of Led Zeppelin's studio recordings, so I am a fan. Anyway, you might disagree with my omissions, but this is my channel, my years, and my list. Anyway, are you enjoying my seemingly more regular jaunts down Music Boulevard? As I grow more and more incapable of getting out and taking actual pictures, they at least help to keep the channel going. Well, for now at least anyway. Right then, we will be back hopefully on Tuesday with more more of this really. Well, it's a Tech Tuesday, so it'll be camera related on Tuesday. What am I doing? I'm drifting now. I'm waffling. I can't remember what I was going to say. So just be nice, all right? Be nice, and we will see you on Tuesday, hopefully. Ta-ra.